I came to attend the Festival of Books here in Los Angeles, California, and I brought a book that I think hasn't been publicized very adequately, and I wanted to shed some lights on it. And this book is called A Philosophy of Death, Life and Time. It's the Patch Theorem. Now, in this book, I have answered several questions about time, several questions about life, several questions about death and about life. Now, what made me research and come up with such an accomplished work is because you can agree with me, not so many people die and then they rise again and they come and tell us where they went. And although we live in time, not so many people understand its gravitas, its force, and the differences between the time zones of this world and the timeless zones of the worlds outside of our perimeters. So when someone dies, we are at a loss. Many times, we think that they just evaporate and they just get lost in the winds. Of course, there is a sense in which that is truth because they become spirits. And the reason is because human beings can only exist on earth in a bodily form. And the earth means one of the 9 planets. And that means a very tiny part of God's creation. Most of you have never thought it that way. Although human beings are a very decorated kind of creation from God, human beings are quite very minority on this universe. They can't even equal in number to the stars, and stars are larger by far than the earth itself. And yet they are so big and so many of them. They can't number the number of human beings. So our thinking is quite very limited because we think that time makes us invincible. And yet we are just the smallest experiment in the universe aspect of God's creation, a very tiny one. God can literally put us into his hands like this against against macroscopic aspects of his creation. So although we don't see it from that perspective, we are just a minution in this God's experiment of how things might be. So he fixed us into a very tiny globe column, we may call it the earth, to experiment on us. We are probably among the tiniest minority of beings that have the body, including animals, birds, and so on. So we are not the majority of those things with bodies. The majority of things we don't see exist. They don't need bodies. And I'll tell you one thing. Bodies make you very limited. It's the body that makes you very worried most of the time, very depressed, very challenged, transport-wise, mobility-wise, aging, even death. Spirits don't die. Only human beings or things that have bodies die. And when we hear that with death, it doesn't mean that there's anything changing.
Wow, thank you. And this is JPC Ntuntu. It is on JPC Live broadcast as we reflect on the life of Professor Charles Mwewa, who sadly went to be with the Lord on the 6th of May, 2025. And I will be put to rest on the 23rd of May. With me in the studio is my dear brother, Mishek Nyendwa. We have a very long history together, stretching back to 1999. And that's around the time that we also came in contact with, Professor Charles Mwewa. And so we just thought we needed to bring these, reflections. And on this program, we are going to do a little bit of talking, but we are also going to play a number of videos that Professor Charles Mwewa did and we will talk about his life. We'll talk about the books that he wrote, and we'll talk about some of the songs that actually were a reflection on his books. Some of the books are made into songs. So there are a few songs that will bring on this platform. And we, of course, expecting other people to join us in the studio, but at the moment, I'm with my dear brother, Mishek Nyendwa. Welcome, my dear brother, Mishek Nyendwa.
Thank you, JPC Tuntu. You are doing a very recommendable job as far as this broadcasting, streaming live is going and has been going. I came to know about this type of interaction on the gospel aspect of things, especially, and its reach has been very wide and really very educative for those that have really been following on the various topics that you're bringing. It's just sadly that on this particular broadcasting, we are actually talking about somebody we could have been talking alive, but we are talking about him in death. But yet his impact on our lives has been something that we cannot really do without. And thank you for hosting this tribute broadcast on the behalf of the legacy of our Professor Charles Mwewa.
Wow, great, great. You know, a revival was taking place at Emma's Bread of Life at that time. And a number of people were coming from different backgrounds. And I remember, I think the first faces, apart from the GO himself, Bishop Imakando, there were these faces that we actually came in direct contact with, who played a role of parenting. You know, faces like Pastor Lisulo, faces like Pastor Chris Maboshe, of course, faces like Reverend Friday Fumbirwa, you know, faces like Elder Mutelo, then he was Deacon Mutelo, and who had a certain direct interaction with the youth. But then a very outstanding one was Charles. And is the one we are focusing on today. Your personal life, your personal reflection on him.
Oh no! Actually, I started coming to Bread of Life Church in Emersdale, then in Chinyunyu. That was in 1998, somewhere around December. I remember at that particular time, I used to be at the boarding school in the east of Zambia, the eastern province, that's Sinda. There used to be a school, they used a school called Chasa Boys Secondary School. That's the school I went to. So in 1998, I remember very well, I think I was grade 9. In December, when I was on holidays. Now, just a brief backing off to that. I got saved in 1997, gave my life to Christ, but then I was still at the boarding school. I was at Pika Boys that time. So my parents decided that Pika was a little bit far from, because being I'm Ngoni, so being my father being Ngoni, my mother being the Chewa. So they were like, there's nothing relating to us. So she brought us, she decided that we come to Sinda because this is where my mother was coming from, and it was closer to the village of my mother. So I would on holidays go to have it. So in 1997, that transition coming to 1998, I got saved. I gave my life to Christ, and then I was transferred to Chasa Boys, and now holidays I'll come to Lusaka like that. Now, when I come on a holiday, I used to belong that time to a church called Reformed Church of Zambia. So we started a revival in Reformed Church of Zambia, which brought the breakup of Reformed Church of Zambia into a church now that is called Bigoka. May he so rest in peace. Archbishop Peter Grove was actually our youth leader at that time. Is the one that brought that revival. So I was so thirsty and hungered for God too much that I was seeking to have a belonging that somehow resonated with my newly found faith at that time and the passion that I had for Christ. So I remember meeting one of my friends who used to come to minister to us in fellowships at Reformed Church. His name now, I don't think he's a reverend, but he's still pastor, but is Samuel Milanzi. The last time I checked, I think it was somewhere in Bread of Life, Chadiza. So he
Yes.
started taking me on. So what I used to do is every Sunday, I would quickly go to attend Bread of Life Church in the morning, like the 7 hour service. Then when I knock off at 9, then I go to Reformed Church. So that continued for some time. So I had two churches I was attending on every Sunday. So then I had a friend who we were friends, and he's still my friend up to now, and our brother actually in this family. His name is Timothy Tuntu.
Oh, yes, Timothy.
So I
Yeah.
realized that actually Timothy was coming to Bread of Life, because I met Timothy Tuntu when I was grade 7. That was around 1996. Yes. So we used to pray to do evangelism together. So I didn't realize I was coming to Bread of Life until when I started coming to Bread of Life, I met him. Then I was like, oh, this is the church I come to. I was like, oh, it's good that I can meet familiar faces. So I got comfortable. I stopped going to Bread of Life because of Pastor Milanzi. I started going as me. But now something very miraculous happened to me. And one particular 1998, somewhere December, when I came off from school, I began to have a dream that became consistent. I was dreaming a young man wearing some nice trouser that had some combination of black and gray in it, and a shirt that had some kind of that showed as if it's. I remember those days we used to call them stupid, but I came to realize now that they are called what? This what you call is West Coast.
Yes.
But you remember, yeah. So like the shirt that you are wearing, so
Yes.
it had the collar, the button side had this kind of a fashion that actually matched the trouser, and he used to put on uh, uh, crossbands. So, and this young man was very eloquent, and he sounded very, very educative, like somebody who was devout into knowledge. So, and I kept meeting him in my dream. Like I'm meeting him and I know him very well, and he's talking to me and he's leading me. Then I asked Timothy, I was like, Timothy, this is 3 occasions. I'm meeting this young man in my dream. But then I call him young man because I was young, but I was more younger. I think I was I think at that time I was about 15 years old. Yes, I was 15 years old, or 14 years going to 15. Not 1998, okay, I'd actually turned my 15 years old. So with a passion for Christ and so zealous for Christ, I was like, this man is always coming in my dream, is teaching me things, is leading me somewhere. So I described him. Remember, those times there were no phones. We used
Yes.
to use things like Sony Ericsson, and so
Yeah.
then you can't say, okay, let me show you. He looks like no. So I started being an artist that described the way he looked. Then Timothy says, I do not know what you are saying, young man, but you know what? The man that you are talking about is there. Is that Bread of Life is actually our chief intercessor. I was like, so is it that I dream of a person that I do not know? And we seem
Mhm.
to be so connected. He's teaching me things. So how is that? Then Timothy said, let's pray about it. There must be something catchy to eat with God. I said, okay, no problem then. Let's
Mhm.
pray. Because we used to do a lot of prayer and fasting with Timothy. So I started praying about it. Then I said, what's his name? He said, his name is Charles Mwewa. I said, he must be very influential, because if he can influence me in my dreams, he must really be influential. So he says,
Mhm.
can I meet this man? He says, yes, I can take you to him. So the first Sunday, now that we came to 1999, that's about the time that we also met. So the first Sunday that I came now, at 1999, I'd made a decision to say, I now belong to Bread of Life. So I
Yeah.
became a member of Bread of Life. I joined the baptism class. I remember that
Mhm.
time my teacher was George Msendwa. Remember Bishop George Msendwa?
Yes, yes, yes. Bishop David
Yes, he's the one who
Sendo,
was
yes.
teaching. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, Msendwa. Yeah, he was the one who was now teaching us the baptism class. So I would
yeah,
come from the baptism class, and I want to meet Charles. And at that particular time, he would have probably gone into the men's sense. So
yeah,
Timothy told us, no, he's not here. Maybe we try next week. The next week again, I don't know, he had traveled, I think, to the Copper Belt or so for ministry. He was not there. I remember I was meeting, I've forgotten what the name of that deaconess at that time, a lady who used to play a role of the secretary in the school of intercession. Remember, she used to keep a lot of afro.
yeah.
Um, yeah, but I've forgotten the name. But yeah, very, very wonderful soul, a wonderful human being. So I spoke to her. Being the sex, she was the one who was handling even the books that Charles used to write. They said, "Oh, Charles, he has just gone, I think, at the ministry, but you can meet him next week." I was like, "Oh, okay." Then that was now the second, the third week. That's when I was able now to meet the man. And if I remember well, that time it was sorry, my electricity is gone, but we're switching on the genset, so we should be able
No,
to go
that's
back
all
to the
right.
light. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, now it's been switched on. So it was about a time when I want to remember which evangelist came, and I think it was Ajinasari, if I remember well, when we had that evangelism
He said,
crusade in the
at, at,
Matero Boys
at
ground.
Matero Boy.
At
That
Matero
was
Boys, yes.
Charles,
So
Charles
it was
Aginasare.
Charles Bachelor, yes.
Yes.
So it was that period when the church was preparing for that same crusade, and Charles was the leader for the setup and the intercessory background when all those was happening. So when I was meeting him, he was that busy preparing for that. So I went to him, and he was literally screaming him. So I shook his hands and I said, "You are brother Charles." I used to call him brother Charles. "You are brother Charles." He said, "Yes." "And you are?" And I said, "I'm Mishek Nyandwa." Then I said to him, I said, "So brother Charles, I don't know how to make this, but I've had a lot of dreams about you and the same way you're looking. And I was wondering why. And today when I've met you, I feel my spirit is just connected to you." Then he looked at me, he says, "Young man, what are you saying?" I said, "You know what it is? I've been dreaming you like holding my hand and taking me to a place. And you were not only telling me things, you were showing me things. So maybe, I don't know, maybe do you think it can be a case of Elijah and Elisha?" Then I said to him, "Sir, I can save you."
Wow.
Then he looked at me, says, "Young man." Then that time I was escorting him to the foyer. He remember he used to have that maroon Bible. Very,
Yes.
so I carried his maroon Bible and we're going to the foyer. And though he stopped somewhere and says, "Young man, um, your story is going to be great." Then he says, we are going to have a crusade at Matero Boys. I want you to come there and meet me there.
Mm.
And you join the school of intercession. I said, "Okay, the right away I'll enroll." And I went to enroll with the same secretary I was talking about. Then he says to me, "I stay behind the church somewhere near Vubu police station. So what you will do is when we are going uh, for the crusade, come and pick me up. There are certain things I would like you to carry for me, and then we'll go." I said, "No problem." So I did properly as he had said. Uh, I went to somewhere nearly where he explains for me, and I picked up things. Then he said to me, he says, "What you are asking for, Brother Mishek, is very hard. Because if you expect me to start preaching to you, you will not get it. But if you can see and learn, then you will get it. He said, did you see what Elijah told Elisha? He said,
Mm-hmm.
I said, I remember. He says, if you can see me go up, then you'll get the anointing. So I said, this is what I'll tell you, is that if you can see, observe, and learn, then you become. But if you are going to learn by me teaching you, you're not going to learn. So
Wow.
what you are asking me is to be exactly what Elijah was to Elijah. There'll be a lot of sacrifices to be led. Are you ready for that? I said, I'll do anything, sir, because I
Wow.
know this is the direction that God gave me. He says, in that case, then you are my son. And
Wow.
that's how it began.
Wow.
And everybody who knew me, all of you from that time, I became this Kachola boy for
Yeah.
Charles. And everybody was
Yeah.
just, that's Charles' boy. Because
Yeah.
wherever he goes, I'll carry his books, I'll carry everything. And then eventually, he would start taking me to home. He
Mm-hmm.
took me to Emmasdale. I would wash his clothes, clean his bedroom. He moved, going to, I think that time I was staying with Deaconess Patience. At that time, if I remember, I don't know whether she's elder now or anything, but she was Deaconess Patience at that
Yeah.
particular time. Then they went to stay in Kawata.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Oh,
he started
Deaconess Patience.
asking me,
You're talking of
Patience,
Deaconess
yeah.
Patience. Siaviela. She's actually
Yes,
late. She
yes.
passed away some years ago.
Oh, serious?
Yeah.
Ish. That's
Yeah.
what I didn't know. So,
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
started
It's
going to
about
the
10 years
Kawata
ago.
flats. Oh
Yes.
yeah, also. Yeah. So I started
Yeah.
going to the Kawata flats. Like what used to happen is like every Saturday, we come
Yeah.
for, we used to have the morning prayers. We come for morning prayers. And then we'll go together with the professor. That time we used to use, if we have money, we would use a taxi, but most of the times we'd use a bus like that. But I think at a particular time, normally there was somebody who used to drop us. But when coming, I'd use a bus like that. And I would wash for him. And surprisingly, for a very good one, he was not telling me anything, not even about God. He was just giving
Yeah.
me things to do.
Yes. Yeah. That
And I
was
was like,
him,
this man, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That was him, I think my personal interactions with him were quite
yeah.
similar, where you are just living a life and you have to make that observation. Yeah,
Oh,
and
yes.
then when you look at the leadership in terms of
Yeah.
intercession,
Mm-hmm.
that's where I think I had a very, very close interaction with him. I
Yeah.
also had some close interaction with Pastor Edgar Mlungushi
Monobushi, yes, yes, yes.
and
Yeah.
there was a lady called Lungoe. I think
Lungo, yes, yes, yes.
who is actually Reverend Simwivawa's wife.
Oh,
She
okay. Oh, okay.
yeah, she was a leader in the intercession.
Intercession,
So
yes, yes, yes. Yes.
yes, yeah. So it started becoming like family because
Oh,
I
yeah.
like the anti-patience, the one you talked about,
Yeah.
Siabiela,
Yeah.
who was
Yeah.
a leader in the intercession. Later on, she played
Yeah.
a very significant role in
Yeah.
my pastoral training. Actually,
Oh, yeah.
she was one of
Oh.
the people that was supporting me financially. Uh,
Oh,
so
nice.
yeah, so you have all these people, and it was like a family. But then
Oh, yes.
when I look at the life of Pastor Charles, this leader, he was a
Yeah.
young
Yes.
man, but with
Yeah.
a lot of people around him and a
Mhm.
lot of inspiration
Oh,
flowing
yes.
out of him.
Oh, yes.
The
Oh,
prayer
yes.
life,
Yeah. Oh, yes.
that focus in terms of prayer, in terms of
Yeah.
intercession, and all those lessons. Some
Yeah.
of the things that I became interested in personally,
Yeah.
which led me to the direction of pursuing theology to a level where I've pursued
Oh,
it.
yeah.
were triggered from the school of intercession. I remember he was not afraid to expose us to the knowledge that I think was slightly above us. Yeah, you know, some of the words that he used when he was training us through the school of intercession. If you remember words like kologai, which is more like having a face-to-face encounter with God. That word, having a face-to-face encounter with God. The word entuchano, which is the word for intercession. And then if you remember expressions like anthropomorphic language, or also the theophanies, the physical manifestations of God in the Old Testament, the theophanies, like when God manifests physically and appears to Abraham, appears to Lottie, appears, you know, usually called the angel of the Lord. So Pastor Charles at that time was not shy to share that kind of knowledge in terms of the scriptures, but also in terms of leadership and just inspiration to show that you can actually become, and it doesn't matter your background or where you are coming from. I remember, you know, messages that he preached. One of them was entitled The Law of Importunity. The Law of Importunity. Where it talks about, you know, a persistence, perseverance, you have to push on, never give up. And I also remember, you know, the principle of audacity, having the confidence that you can push it through. And I also remember his expressions, a lot of expressions like if a man of conviction, it takes conviction to change the world. And it would say it is men of conviction that do the impossible and achieve that do the impossible, achieve the invisible and see the invisible. It says it takes conviction to have that kind of, you know, drive. And you know, those messages and just personal interactions when he had moved to bank houses, those bigger houses. Yes, and we were able to spend a lot of time with him there as young people, and it was just an awesome time to just have an experience. But then there was also a political side of him, which was very prominent at that time. I remember him speaking to my face, and he somehow, to some extent, also tried to influence me towards a political direction. Because I remember in 2003, on the day that Brother Shikapwasha Lewis was was bidding farewell to go to South Africa and to go and do pastoral training. You know, Pastor Lewis Australia. So there was something I stood up to say in the youth meeting. Then after I spoke, he went and he stood there and he looked at me and he said that this young man, as you are speaking, I see a leader. You are no ordinary young man. I see a prime minister in you. You're speaking like a prime minister giving a speech. And I think from there, the following week, he appointed me as a secretary of the youth to take over from Pastor Lewis. And then we developed this relationship, and also you guys now became so bonded like brothers, you know. Pastor Humphrey Mutiti, Pastor Samuel Keo, Blessings, and Timoth, and all these people, you know. We just became so knitted. So it's such a life and such a legacy. But then, of course, we're going to write some books. Maybe we can, at this point, we can play a song, because we can play a song that you did. I think we'll begin with that one.
one of the, I think, it was his birthday in 2023,
Yes.
when in my mind, I don't know, for some reason, in my mind, I was thinking that's when he was going into his the 20, I mean, the Jubilee birthday. I don't know, for so long I thought his Jubilee birthday was in 2023, because I thought it was 73.
Okay.
So I asked him, I said, one of the gifts I can give you for as a birthday gift for eating Jubilee. They said, no, it's not that, my son. My Jubilee is not yet. I said, okay, cool, no problem. But one of the gifts I can give then is let me sing one of the songs for you from your one of your poems. And say, so I said, choose for me what poem you would like me to do. One good poem, then I'll sing it. I'll make a song. Then he said, you know what? I don't have a lot of poems. What I will do is I'll give you access to the best of Charles poems. So I'll just give
Yeah.
you my poem. He says, look, I'll send it to your WhatsApp. Then he said, then I found out that he has got, I don't know, more than 500 poems. I said, but how do I go about 500 poems? Which one is going to be which? See, then I came across, in reading the poems, because I used to be a poet myself in growing up. I came across a poem called Write Me a Poem. So in my mind, I was like, just somebody write a poem, and the poem, he says, write me a poem. So I asked him, I called him, and I said, Dad, I like this one. He says, write me a poem. What were you thinking? Now, before we did that, my children had done a song called "Let My." I knew about that poem called "A Letter to Kara," but I wanted
Yeah.
it to sound more Africans for the kids. I told them you must sing it Chara instead of Kara, because it will sound more like the West. So my children
Yeah.
did that song, Letter to Chara. Chara, 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 Chara. Then I spiced it up. When he heard it, he liked it. He said, this is beautiful. But I said, I did this as a bonus before we do what we have to do. Then we kept it aside. He says, okay, I now know that you have potential. But then he had not heard me sing. Or he
Okay.
says, but I didn't realize you make music. So then I said, this write me a poem. What does it mean? He says, I'm actually telling the tongue to say, you, my tongue, are my poem. So write
Okay.
me a poem. So the way I write poems, I want the tongue to give me a poem. Wow,
Okay.
then it made a whole lot of sense for me. And that's how we did that song, Write Me a Poem. And you know that when he danced to that song on his Facebook page, Write Me a
Yeah.
Poem, within, I think, 5 days, it attracted 320 something, maybe 22,000 views.
Wow.
And
Wow.
now, in the music world, that is not easy. Eh?
No, 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 no. So write me a poem. Now, Pastor
Yes.
Charles was not just a pastor; he was a lawyer, and
Oh,
he
yes.
was an author. He was written quite significantly on Pan-Africanism. One of
Oh,
his
yes.
major books is Zambia: The Struggles of My
Zambia, the
People.
struggle of our people.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yes.
he has also written Africa Must Develop. And like
Oh, yes.
we are hearing, he was a poet. He did a number of poems, and he actually was
Yeah.
also a fiction writer. He wrote
Oh, yes.
some fiction books, including A Spy in Hell.
Books.
A
Spy
book,
in Hell. Oh, yes.
yeah, A Spy in
That's a
Hell.
movie, eh?
Yes, yes, yeah, great. So we
Yeah.
have some of our brothers here joining us, and one of our dear friends,
Oh, yeah.
I can see, of course, is in the
Yeah.
dark, and that our viewers don't worry
Yeah.
about the dark with my
Oh,
brothers.
yeah.
My dear country, Zambia is experiencing a lot of load shedding.
Not
But for
shading.
me,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, who is in the light in the United Kingdom, you still always see me. Brother Sipo, I can see you, and I would love you to say something. Brother Sipo, we have lost
probably his internet could be bad because of the same power surge.
And I've noticed like we have Matilda Mountfort right there, but it seems the network is really bad, and a lot of people are really struggling to connect. But then we are going to play. We'll start with the Write Me a Poem, just for you to see the poet aspect of Pastor Charles Mwewa, and just for you to see him dance. I'm putting up that now. I have a comment here from brother Webistan Jovu, our dear lovely older brother. He's saying Pastor Ntuntu and Brother Nyendua, Pastor Charles MD legacy, we are part of that legacy. Yeah, a lot of us are part of it. And we have a comment from Auntie Kandu. Now, we all know Auntie Kandu, and I think she's struggling to come into the studio. And she's saying, I would like to say something. And I wish Auntie Kandu, you can get to the group. There is a link called the StreamYard, and you just place there, and you might get into the studio. If you have got good network, then you'll be able to say something. Okay, so there is the song. Meshach did the words and whatever. Write me a poem. We just played it.
Professor Charles Mwewa. Let me hold you, wanna hold you. Let me hold you and try the same death twice. My cold heart, you've ten warm. My cold heart, you've ten warm. This price, I'ma write you a poem. I'ma write you a poem. You asked me to write you a poem. Sweet tongue, sweet tongue. How that this request is to me. Hello for fun, hello for fun. Ooh, for how should I write for you? For you are my poem, you my poem. My heart knows, my soul renders it indeed solemn for you. Words have no power to describe how I wish I said I was. I said I was. I'm not a scribe. I'm not a scribe. Let me hold you, wanna hold you. Let me hold you and die the same death twice. My cold heart, you've ten warm. My cold heart, you've ten warm. This price, I'ma write you a poem. I'ma write you a poem. I would have sung you a song of love and express the details my mother gave. From your star, flying across my soul, my soul. How about you? Is the season that to the soul? In your hands I find faultless care. You the embrace I crave for. Like a day, like a day. Let me hold you, wanna hold you. Let me hold you and try the same death twice. My cold heart, you've ten warm. My cold heart, you've ten warm. This price, I'ma write you a poem. I'ma write you a poem. Let me hold you, wanna hold you. Let me hold you and try the same death twice. My cold heart, you've ten warm. I could hold. You can walk this rice. Am I right? You are poem, poem. Am I right? You are poem. Right, you. The originals. My boss said, yeah, madam. Check me production. Written by Professor Charles Mwewa.
The original exclusive.
Well, we have in the studio Princess Ukaga, and Princess is joining us from Canada. Princess, are you able to put a video? Hello, Princess, can you get me?
Oh, hi. Is it
Hello.
okay if I take out the video?
Okay, we can get your voice, but we can't see your video. Are you able to put the video?
Yes, but I would like to speak without the video, if that's okay.
Okay, that's all right. I was hoping you were going to say something about the life of Charles Mwewa, his inspirational leadership and the books that he wrote, the law firm and everything. Just a little bit inspiring from the aspect of your experience with him in Canada.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Hi, Princess.
Yes, we can get you.
My name is Princess, and I live in Toronto, and I've known Charles for like almost 8 to 9 years. He was my lecturer in Housing College, and before I started working with him at his legal firm, we became so close to Charles like 4 or 5 years ago, and we started working together. What I can say about Charles is he was more than a brother because he doesn't see any faults in anyone. He not only inspires you to be good, he lives that life. When you come close to Charles, he changes your mindset. There's never any at all negative a situation when you're with Charles. He knows how to turn the table to like make you feel good. So it's finding it difficult to accept that he's dead. I can't even cry. When he was in the hospital every day, I'll cry and cry and cry. Sometimes I'll pack my car and then I'll cry so much. But since I had his death, I can't even cry because for me, I don't think it's real. I feel he should. Maybe he went to somewhere and then maybe in the next 10 years, that's how I feel about Charles. And it's so hard for me to accept. But the only thing I keep telling myself since yesterday was that I think he knows what he's doing. He knew that he was gonna die because before he went in for the surgery, he sent me a message around 10:55, which was before he went into for his surgery. And what he sent me really made me understand that he was gonna go. He knew he wasn't gonna come back. And it's something that the last time I was speaking with him in the night around 8 p.m., he never gave me a clue that, oh, Madam Princess, I'm not gonna like make it. He made me believe that, oh, in the morning we're gonna talk, because we talked about our clients, about the UN. I'm so happy because again, when I remember what he told me at the UN when we went for the UN in September last year, he was like, Madam Princess, you know what? I'm so happy that I used to teach people about the United Nations, the work of the United Nations. I dream so much about the United Nations. And one of my dreams is to come to the UN. And today, I'm so happy that I've fulfilled coming to the United Nations. And then with this, I'm going to help my people in Zambia. I really want to go to Zambia. He wants to take his kids to Zambia. He wants to open an office in Zambia. He wants to build schools in Zambia. He wants me to connect with some people that we were connecting with to take a lot of goods to Zambia to help the people in Zambia. So he was so passionate about Zambia. He wants the leaders in Zambia contest for the president in Zambia. So he had so much dreams for Zambia. So it breaks my heart knowing that a man that so much love his country and so much have a lot to offer in such a young age, can just go like that, just like that. But there are many other Charles Mwewa that will really come out from Zambia. For him coming from Zambia at this age and having this kind of dream means that Zambia has a lot of beautiful souls and handsome souls that are like Charles Mwewa and that will always come up, to fulfill the dream that he has started. So, that being said, I feel a little bit relieved, and I feel this is why I couldn't really shed tears that he's no more. I want to ask a favor in this that please, if all the Zambians that really felt that Charles has really made an impact, a little impact, should also remember his beautiful daughters because they really mean a lot to him. And each time he's talking to me, he's like, "Oh, I really want you to be a mentor to Tashania, and so on and so forth." So if you people can really still reach out to the girls and still bring them back home and still make them understand that their father loves Zambia, they are Africans, even though they are Canadians, it will really help wherever he is, his soul is, to really find peace, knowing that his people are still bringing his family back home and still making the kids understand that there is something so special from Zambia, And I also want to use this opportunity to say sorry to the mom and to the siblings. He so much love his mom, and he was planning so much with us in the office to, give his mom the care and to bring her here in Canada, which us in the office here we were working towards, so she doesn't feel left out, like we never thought about her or he never thought about her. And then on behalf of myself and Mr. Chaspa and Antonio and a whole lot of all the Iranian communities here and his clients, they cry so much, like even when they have heard that he's no more, they couldn't find a way to go to another firm. And I keep looking for where they will have to go and finish up their legal matters. But most of them really wants to stay. That's to show you how good Charles was. So to end this, I would like to say to Charles, you're a brother, and I'm so happy I met you on this race to heaven, and I'll never forget you. And all the things that we've done together as brothers, as friends, as colleagues, I pray that I'll be able to do my part before I leave this planet. And thank you very much for really making an impact to this world. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I really appreciate each and every one of you. Someone put me in the group, and I've been seeing all that everybody has been writing. Really, no one has ever said anything, one thing bad about Charles. And that inspires me so much, knowing that there's need for me to also keep being good to the day I leave this planet. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. Please feel free to reach out at his Toronto office. We pray and we hope, all of us here in the Toronto office, to keep up his legacy. And in any way we can, we are really open to helping all the Zambians the best and legal ways that we can. Thank you.
Princess, would you take a little question? It's a blessing, and that just gives us a perspective, because most people may not know that when people go in the diaspora, we they remain, actually, those of us that are in the diaspora, we have this sentimental attachment to Africa, to Zambia, and generally to Africa. Would like to see Africa develop, would like to see Africa get better, and we just feel that we can get somewhere. And you have highlighted a number of things about Charles Mwewa, especially his passion for Zambia, his desire to build the schools and to invest in Zambia, and to lead the nation of Zambia. Maybe in maintaining and keeping his legacy. I know you, if I'm not mistaken, you're from Nigeria originally, and I just reflecting on the life of Charles. The words that you can say to us, the young Africans in the diaspora, and also the young Africans in Africa. And like you rightly put it, looking at the life of Charles, you believe that there are many beautiful souls in Zambia who reflect the kind of life and the kind of passion for Zambia that Charles reflected. And those are people that can be discouraged by his early death, but then we may draw inspiration out of his life and be able to push for a great Africa. Just some words that you can say before you completely leave. Yes, Princess, you can go ahead.
What did you ask again? Sorry.
Yeah, just some word of encouragement that you can give to young Africans with regard to Pan-Africanism and the need to invest back home.
Oh, so like something that we always say in my place, there is no place like home. No matter how, so anywhere you stay and find peace is your home. That's one.
Yes.
And then we are just one body, one spirit, irrespective of if we are white or black or yellow or blue. Yeah. We are all one body and one humanity. So
yes,
much as we are living in the Western world, we should also, where we have found peace and love and kindness and civilization that imports, I also want to say that we should always, when we find ourselves in the Western world, we should always look back home to help our people to also find themselves. And most especially from Charles' perspective, always try to be yourself to do good. Because I think you were able to find yourself, grew more, and then he had the zeal to really do good in his community, in his Zambia. He felt, oh, if this can happen in the Western world to like be this great and beautiful, which means his Zambia can also be this great and beautiful. So my advice to the younger generation is always be yourself and always do good to yourself and your country.
Wow. Thank you, Princess. Yeah, we've heard how, Professor Mwewa was able to share his life out there in Canada. And some key highlights for me, Brother Mishek, that have come out, that he still loved his mother. And he had dreams and passion and desire, and he loved his family and wanted the best for her and for the family. And also
when we were talking,
and the nation. Yes.
When he was talking, the last we had a long chat with him in September. I think that was the 24th. It was one of the headline topics that he talked about. He highlighted the fact that he told us plainly to say he had a speaking engagement in Kenya, and
Yes.
he said to us when we were chatting, he said, "My sons, I would. My mother hasn't been very well, and I don't want her to feel so left out." Like Princess said, he said, "So when I come to Kenya, I know my engagement was for me to come to Kenya. These guys are getting me a ticket to come to Kenya, and then go back to Canada. That I'm rerouting that from Kenya, I come to Zambia. Basically, that I should go and see my mother because she hasn't been well." It was on his to-do list. It was a very important thing for him. He emphasized on that. And then I said to him, I said, "Is it the only thing you want to come to Zambia for?" He said, "It's the most thing I want to come to Zambia for." But then, because there were also the background movements that we started for changing Zambia, he said, "I would want to come and consolidate that." And he said personally to me, he says, "Bishop, I want to take you there and introduce you to the leaders, and you'll be part of the leaders for that movement, that we will begin by first changing the mindsets of Zambians and influence Zambians into doing good," like she was saying, doing good and getting a better Zambia. So you see, those are two passions that you could not take away from Charles. Number one, his native country, Zambia, was something that was always in his lips, singing it every day. But he would not forget his family. Now remember, he would not forget the family he begot, us. Like I think in the family begot us. I'm the firstborn. Okay. Then comes Kasosa, then comes Humphrey, like that, and then comes Jacob, comes Timothy, Tuntu. We he doesn't forget this family. Now, how does he even forget the family that he shares blood with? At all, at all. Any little things he would do, even then before he traveled to Canada, you find him doing a lot of things with his elder brother, Pastor Chewe. In everything he was doing, he involves his family. So he had this man, was a man with a passion for family and never forgets where he comes from. But he had also a bigger passion for the general public of Zambia. He felt that if you can do good somewhere else and lead this good, all Zambians must have that opportunity. I think that's a very, very, very powerful, powerful inspiration.
Wow. That's so beautiful. Yeah. Actually, I was chatting with the gentleman from Kenya, who is actually the leader of the Chamber of Commerce, and the one who had invited Professor Charles to Kenya. He was supposed to be part of this program, and that really again keeps coming out. It's what we call Ubuntu, actually, in the African language. It's Ubuntu. I am because you are, and because you are, therefore I am. Like the Kaundas would say, we are not fully free until every other African nation is free. When today the struggle of Africa is we need to overcome poverty, we need to overcome poor leadership, we need to overcome corruption, and all these things that painted a bad narrative on the continent of Africa, and specifically in the nation of Zambia. And so we draw a lot of inspiration from Charles Mwewa, such that even if he's dead, yet those of us who are alive can continue, with that legacy. But it is also the legacy of family attachment. It's the legacy of being father, being husband, and name it all. I have a comment here with me from Brother Francis Thierry, who is saying, "I was among the 1990 school graduates from the School of Intercession, of course, which he established in 1996. And he says, I'm part of the successful journey, and among the first to read his first material at Bread of Life Church International. That was all prayers make all things possible."
Makes all things possible. Yes.
Yeah. all prayers make all things possible. That was the title of one of his earliest books. And then he went ahead and wrote a poetic book entitled My Letter to Kara, which inspired that poem and that song. But then having heard, that moving testimony from a princess, I would like to play one of the songs that has been done by a gentleman called Chila. It is a reflection on the a book entitled Africa Must Develop, a book by Charles Mwewa, which is just challenging us that we have a responsibility towards Africa, all of us, the young Africans. And one of the greatest blessings of Africa today is the young people. Africa has the largest number of young people on earth. Most of them below 35. Africa today has the largest number of young people in history that have been able to go into the diaspora. That we should be able to find ways of harnessing the blessing of young people back into the continent of Africa and be able to build a continent that we desire to build. And so we are going to play this song.
Africa must be developed. Written by author Charles Mwewa. You can come chilas po mushita iakale. Mushita ya cha no. We're buying things from the windows. There's a gonna mongandise bana bamasiye. Africa was never called a continent. Africa was called a jungle. Africa, 22nd century is ours. Africa, Nisikola to Dwalumba Zambika wotu. Africa must be developed to Kekala Munshe say. Africa must be developed, Nisikola to Tenge. Africa must be developed to Kekala Munshe say. Africa Nizikola tu Dwalumba Zambika wotu. Tiende pamozi ndi mutima umozi. Tiende pamozi ndi mutima umozi. Our Africa must be developed. We must own ourselves. We must not let man leave Africa easily. We must invest in our children's quality education. We must insist on fair trade. Charles Mwewa to emphasize that Africa must be developed. Africa, 22nd century is ours. Africa, Nisikola to Dwalumba Zambika wotu. Africa must be developed to Kekala Munshe say. Africa must be developed, Nisikola to Tenge. Africa must be developed to Kekala Munshe say. Africa Nisikola to Dwalumba Zambika wotu.
Battery of Vision Music, Africa.
Follow him on Instagram, TikTok and Facebook, author Charles Mwewa. Shout out to the freedom fighter, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Dr. Titus Chiruba, Mr. Chirufya Michael Sata, Mr. Mazoka, Mr. Ali Mwanga Nkumbula, Mr. Mwanawasa, Mr. Simon Mwansaka Pwepe, Mr. Bwesani Rupia Banda. May also continue to rest in peace.
Trying to prepare our people for 22nd century domination, and I believe it. The book is titled Africa Must Be Developed.
Africa Must Be Developed. Brother Meshek, how can people access that book?
They can go to the Amazon. I think Professor had put a lot of his books on the Amazon. Amazon has a lot of hard and soft copies if you so wish. And especially nowadays where technology has gone high, if you don't want to be carrying hard copies all over. You can get a soft copy. But if you also want the hard copy, you can get. But then there are also a lot of selected stores all around the globe where these books are being sold. Amazon would actually direct you, or if you go on author Charles Mwewa page, to be able to direct you which are those stores around the globe where you can access. But I think the easiest is to go on Amazon, and you can never be cheated there, and you'll be able to get a vast scope of books that Professor left, and get the knowledge. One thing that you can't take away from Professor Charles is he the first for research and knowledge was beyond humanity. He always wanted to find the core of a thing, you know. So even when he talks about Africa, he would go into deep research. I say so because I remember in 1999, I think, same 1999, when he was at the University of Zambia as a student of in the School of Education and Literature. He was doing, which actually transformed my life. He was doing a research on Africa, on love, the essence of love. And now this was this essence of love, essence of marriage, and also sex in African context in terms of Zambian tradition. So he said to me he had resources to research on the West. So he needed to do a comparison between the West and Africa, and in this context, more Zambia. So he called me, I should go. He gave me money to go. And in Zambia, there are these women that teach about marriage, they teach young girls when they are going to marry. They're called Panafimbusa. He gave me money and says, go to any Panafimbusa you know. I was young. I didn't know what research means. I was that, I think, a grade what? Grade 10, no, grade 10. Yeah, I know grade. I think I was grade still. I was still grade 9. So I was very young, but and these are scopes that you do in university. But then it tells me get a book and write everything the way they tell you.
Wow.
That's how deep he was into research, and this is where I learned about marriage, sex in African context, especially Zambia, and relationships. Because I asked deep questions because he told me ask this and that and that and that and that and that, and I wrote. He says write the way they are telling you in that vernacular. Write it. So now you can tell this was a man that was showing gaps in knowledge. When he starts to research on something, he goes deep and he wants to get every part of it. And so he comes to explain to you. This is why you were telling us, Pastor Jack, if you remember, about his always tenacity to try and teach us beyond our knowledge level at that particular time in terms of the things of God, using words that we would understand, some of us would not understand. And some of those things we came to understand them better now than then. But because of his so engulfed into knowledge, he had so much knowledge in all these spheres that when he starts teaching them to you, you start asking yourself a question: is it the knowledge himself?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the life we are talking about here, and the best way to maintain the legacy of Charles, my beloved, is to not just to buy his books, but to read them. You get them so that you read them. But then your buying of the book will also, be a huge contribution to his daughters, the girls that he really loved and cared about. One of the major books was Zambia, the struggles of my people. And again, our brother Chila has done a song in line with that particular, book. And I would like to just say, play the struggles of my people. Zambia, the struggles of my people. There it is.
Mr. Buckley Official Music, Africa.
You can call me Chilas
Imbalance ma Bachaos Mwewa Niba kanye abo Abalimba amafuku The people's author Zambia struggles of my people
Zambia struggles my people Kurialimba wa Mwewa Ichaozi wana author That I never seen before Zambia struggles my people Kurialimba wa Mwewa Ichaozi wana author that I never seen before. Zambia struggles my people. Kurialimba wa Mwewa. Ichaozi you wanna author that I never seen before. Bachaozi Mwewa ba Mzambia. Bachaozi Mwewa ba vyalirwe kusamvya. Mr. Chaozi Mwewa is a teacher. Mr. Chaozi Mwewa is a lecturer. Mr. Chaozi Mwewa is a professor. Mr. Chaozi Mwewa is a lawyer. Ladies and gentlemen, dear brother and sister. Iseni tubelenge ibuku lya Bachaozi Mwewa. Zambia struggles of my people. Iri buku lilelanda pafing. It covers history, economics, politics, law, religion, culture, buku commentary and comparative analysis of others African and Western countries. Zambia struggles my people. Kurialimba wa Mwewa. Ichaozi you wanna author that I never seen before. Zambia struggles my people. Kurialimba wa Mwewa. Ichaozi you wanna author that I never seen before. Zambia struggles my people. Kurialimba wa Mwewa. Ichaozi you wanna author that I never seen before. Ama struggles abantu bonse bapitamo iri buku lyalikwata ama solution. If you are a student ngata wabelenga kweli buku awe ni you are missing out a lot. If you are a politician ngata wabelenga kweli buku awe ni shitewe politician. Those who want to know uyantanshi wa Zambia mufire mwabelenga history because you can't know yourself if you don't know where you are coming from. To let Tafe emphasize the businessman, the politician, the farmer, once a student, mfire mwabelenga ibukweli. It is a Zambian encyclopedia. It is a Zambian Bible. Zambia struggles my people. Kurialimba wa Mwewa. Ichaozi you wanna author that I never seen before. Zambia struggles my people. Kurialimba wa Mwewa. Ichaozi you wanna author that I never seen before. Zambia struggles my people. Kurialimba wa Mwewa. Ichaozi you wanna author that I never seen before.
If you want to come out from the suffering, you have to read this book. Endesheni epo ayama buku dayalapwa Zeni twendele pomone chalo Bachaozi Mwewa Nabatuletelako ama buku ya sumanganshi
Hey Mr. Buckley, Pan-Production
Wasila Nkata Hey Holy Max
Chilla's post sound is nice. It's makeup.
Zambia struggles of my people. History, religion, law, economics, name it, comparative economics and leadership between African nations and the Western world. Your comment, Brother Mishek.
That's an encyclopedia.
It's an
like the way Paul was saying, I tell you, the way Paul said it, if you're a politician, you're a religious man, you are a businessman, you're a farmer, whatever you are, you want to understand the scope of Zambia. Because I think in that book, he highlighted all those scopes. And it's so vast and wide that it gives you, like I said, he was a man of research. He had done enough research on religion in Zambia, economics in Zambia, politics in Zambia, and also law in Zambia, and how the people struggle to integrate into this digital world and try and understand, how the world operates in systems. Actually, you remember books about systems. So he was actually
Yeah.
trying in that book, he was trying to express how those systems he was talking about, how that they integrate in different spheres of life, politics, religion, economics. And so it's just a massive book, a must-read book. And I think he was telling us before he passed last year, when we had a chat, he was telling us that it was actually one of the reasons he wanted to come to Zambia was to, I don't know which university, maybe it's a CBU or so, that have now adopted that book as one of the theses in one of the of the schools that they are doing. So you can imagine if now it becomes a textbook and becomes a book that you write exams from in a university, you can understand what type of the book it is. So it's not just a book anymore; it's a
Wow.
subject. It's
Yeah. So
a
it's a text. It's something that speaks into
it's
the
a
very
text.
life of Zambia. And a CBU
Yes.
actually is Copperbelt University, one of the biggest universities in Zambia, and which
Yes.
universities like there's that university in Chinsali, um,
Yeah.
Kapasa something university, and the other one, they're actually part of the university, the Copperbelt University. So it's a huge
Yeah.
thing. It's a huge thing,
Yeah.
and I would just want to encourage us to read, those books. Probably as we go towards the winding up, we may also want to play another song that talks about the books now, because Pastor Mwewa didn't just write about the struggles of my people and whatever, but he wrote 120 books before he
Yeah.
died. And
Yeah.
he was still passionate about writing more books. Because I remember he mentioned in our group there that he was working on a project. And of course, he was going to Kenya, and then he should have ended up in Zambia in April, which things have just, happened. God's will cannot be cautioned. But in
Yeah.
celebrating this life and having, I believe that Professor Charles had emptied himself into those books.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Oh,
those
yes.
of us that want to hear him more can hear him more today by going to those books. 120 books.
Right.
In one of the books that he wrote, Brother Mishek, he made personal reflections about death.
Oh, yes.
Reflections literally about, death. And in that book, he said the philosophy of death, life, and resurrection. And that's the video we played first, where he was
Yeah.
saying the body limits us, and we are
Yes.
trapped in this body on earth.
Mhm.
And so death is something that we should actually celebrate. And he had made that comment in our WhatsApp chat, that I wonder whether we should be
Yes.
sad when death happens. I think
Sad.
we should
Oh,
be happy.
yeah.
Especially the death of a Christian. Yes, maybe a comment on that.
Yes. Actually, when the first time I heard, when I was told that he suffered multiple strokes, and he had an emergency in the heart, I really cried. He went through where we started from, how he has always been present in my life. I always tell people I had two fathers. I had the biological father and I had the father figure who made me what I am today. Pushed me into school. He actually, for me to go to school, it was him. So
Yeah.
Now, if you look at when he talks about death, for some reason or the other, he talked about it in a casual way. But I was like, I had to put two and three together. Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, he was talking about what we should feel when somebody dies. Okay. Then second, it talks about it as a blessing, when you die. Then he gets sick. Then I cry. I really cried. But then when I
Yeah.
heard he died, I wanted to cry. If you remember, you guys were having
A
a
conversation.
WhatsApp call, and I told you to excuse me. Yes, I said, excuse me, guys, and I didn't even join that conversation until the following morning.
Yeah.
The reason being is that at that time I had mixed emotions. So the only thing I needed to ask myself is that what would dad want as Professor Charles? Sorry, now Professor Charles, he was our dad. So I was like, what would Professor want us to do in this moment? Is it to
Mm.
cry or to celebrate him? Then I removed all the grief, the bitterness, everything. I just said, okay, anyway, he has done his part on this earth. He has influenced some of us. We will become what we need to become because of him. So I think on that light, we should celebrate because
Yeah.
each one
Actually,
of us has a part
yeah.
that they play in this life. We have got God determines our life in spaces, and this space is called time. We just fit in that space. When he says he has already ordained certain things, it's like when you play those games which have got
Yeah.
already outlined, positions. So when you are playing this game, you reach this point, you are supposed to hit this one, you get more stronger for the next stage, and then you follow all that path. It is you who passes through the spaces to reach your destination. So this is how God has designed life. So each one of us has that contribution to life. And when we come to the end of our journey, it is the end, but we would have contributed within these spaces in those points that we were supposed to, like you were saying, empty ourselves. If we have to empty ourselves, we would have emptied ourselves. Like for Professor, I have had a lot of people when they look at me, even when I talk to them, they said, "You sound like Charles." I have done things that I have been questioned before. Said, is it you or is Charles? And they would ask
Mm.
me, why did you do this? Is it something you learned from Charles? Like my whole life has been Charles and Arise.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we
Yeah. So,
celebrate. We should celebrate. I think
yeah.
it should be
Yeah.
a
So
happiness. It should be a happiness.
great. Great. So it's a life to celebrate and not to
Yeah.
mourn. And you
Yeah.
remember, Brother Mishek, that it was 4 days before he suffered that
Yes.
stroke when he
Sure.
put up
Yes.
that message about the
Oh
fact that
yes.
we should be sad or happy,
Yeah.
and that if I
Sad
cry,
or happy.
we should
Yes.
celebrate
Yeah.
even
Yes.
in death, because it's
Yes.
just another beginning. Wow.
Oh
So we
yes.
are going to play, I think, one of probably the last, maybe the second last clip, because the actual
Yeah.
last one will be the ending one. And so
Oh yeah.
I'm going to play the one of the last clips, which is again another reflection on the songs that is talking about his books. And this particular
Yeah.
one is highlighting the 120 books. These are books
Oh,
about love, they are books about economy, they are books about personal development, they are books on prayer, there are books on, there are fiction books like the Spy in Hell. The
oh, yeah.
it's a whole. There is also another novel. It's called something like Lusaka, whatever. It's more of
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
I've heard
yeah,
of
yeah. But those some of the books for film makers, actually Spy in
it.
Hell, Lusaka stuff, and some more books
Yeah.
can actually be turned into movies. And
Oh,
filmmakers,
actually, on
yes,
that one,
yes, yes.
we should hold our hands together. From the gathering I got, that the Spy in Hell had won a feature for a movie in the Hollywood, and
Wow.
I think before he died, the deal should have gone through already.
Oh,
So we keep our
wow.
fingers crossed that it is actually become actual because it's dead. It should not just die as an idea that was accepted, but that it should actually, as part of the legacy to his name for the many works that he has done, like you're mentioning, that it should actually come as a movie that we should see on a big screen, and all of us in his remembrance and memorial, and come on the next memorial, we should be actually celebrating having to watch that movie called The Spy in Hell.
Brilliant, brilliant. So we are going to play something right here.
Professor Charles Mwewa valilemba mabuku 120 naambia chili ya leisa. Big up to Professor Charles Mwewa, we are proud of you. Once upon a time neze pita shinguruke mutaoni na pesa amabuku ya Charles nachi valilemba vyayengyavo. From north mpaka south, east mpaka west, Canada mpaka Zambia, Congo, Namibia, Nigeria, Sudan, Morocco, Algeria, France, Tanzania, Uganda. I've never seen before, I've never seen before, I've never seen before, I've never seen before. Oh na, uwapala Charles Mwewa. 150 books is not a joke. Professor Charles Mwewa, I see ya. Oh, Charles Mwewa. Kuma author, you are number one. Kuma author, you are number one. Kuma author, you are number one. Oh, Charles Mwewa. Kuma author, you are number one. Kuma author, you are number one. Kuma author, you are number one. Halilembako resurrection, halilembako Pemba dynasty, halilembako thinking. Church tulave Zambia struggles of my people, and also Africa must be developed. Awe Charles uliwakule kafi. Mr. Charles, you wanna author that I never seen before. Mr. Charles, you wanna author that I never seen before, yeah. Proud of you, proud of you, we are proud of you. Oh, Charles Mwewa. Kuma author, you are number one. Kuma author, you are number one. Kuma author, you are number one. Oh, Charles Mwewa. Kuma author, you are number one. Kuma author, you are number one. Kuma author, you are number one. Indeed, Africa must be developed. At the Zambia struggles of my people, the Zambian Bible, the Zambian Encyclopedia. Charles Mwewa. Mr. Charles, you wanna author that I never seen before.
It's Mr. Buckley on the beat. Oh my gosh.
On that list, I can see theology, law and decree. God is one. I can see theology. I can see inspiration, achieving the impossible. I see a lot. I see, it's such a huge list, touching different subjects. What's the comment, man? It's amazing.
I think I was.
Yeah.
I've been trying to write a book in over 10 years. I have the concept, but I can't get myself made to write the first paragraph. Now, to write all those books and with all that vast knowledge in different dimensions, wow. What a legacy. I don't know how to even put it. What a legacy. Pastor Jack, this is a man who dies at 49. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, some people, if you are 20, you think 49 is too old. But when you are 40, then you begin to realize 49 is too young. But look at the legacy. Now start asking yourself a question. When did he start writing these books? How many people have written 120 books? And these are not just books that you write like, what were those books we used to read in the olden days in Zambia, Jerita and Mulenga, Sarah, Robert? No. This is immense. This is immense knowledge. He's touched about finances, governance, touched about relationships. Like there's that book, Why Do Married Couples Lie to Each Other? In details, in depth.
Yes.
Then you ask yourself to say, what you must be a haven of knowledge, because you don't write what you don't know and what you don't. Like the Bible, you cannot give what you don't have. You only give what you have, which means for him to remember, he said, you become what you read. I think he said something like this before.
Yeah.
It's what you read is what you become. So if he has all this knowledge and he can put it on paper, how much has he read? How much has he thought? How much has he experienced? I remember my first journey with him. The first thing he taught me in life, and it has helped me up to now. He looked at me, was very young. I think he had given me, that time was like 15,000 kwacha, which is like 15 kwacha now. Because I used to manage the affairs of the home. If anybody has got money, will just tell me, Brother Mishek, here is the money. You budget for the house the whole month. And I'll budget. Okay? So he just told me, says, can I tell you something, my young man? He says, you know what? Money is a mindset.
Yeah.
He who thinks like money gets it. And that was it. And he taught me this in 2000. Yeah, I think in 2000. I have run with it up to now. It has what has helped me. I say money is a man. It's how you think about money. So money is neutral, but how you think about it is what will determine what you do with it. Whether you're going to do useful about it or you're going to do useless about it. So now, if he has written a book, just talks about money, principles on how you view money, how you think money, how you use money. And if you go to his page, Charles David Mwewa, you'll see that all these nuggets he used to throw them time and again. And people never realized that those were actually some of the clauses that were coming from his books.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it was just a haven of knowledge. Those books, talk about the way he now did the whole book about all prayer makes all things possible. All prayer makes all things possible. Now it's a huge volume.
Yes.
And there he talks about every aspect of prayer.
Yeah. Now,
you want to know how to pray.
Yes. Wow. Yeah, of course, we kind of froze there, but all these books, you can find them on Amazon.
Yeah.
And you can do Amazon Kindle. If you are not able to get a hard copy book, you can still get them as soft copies and have them on your tablet, and they'll be able to make a difference in your life.
It's a novel called The Resurrection, written by author Charles Mwewa.
Mr. Buckley of Vision Music, Africa.
You can call me Chilas, for there was a spy who trapped in hell. Resurrection, the spy in hell is a triumph of grace over Lord. Good over evil, oh by grace. The power of evil tried it, but your did fail. Resurrection, resurrection.
So that is another book, Resurrection, and several others. Beloved, it has been a great time of reflection, and just to do a little bit of some tributes on the beautiful life, a life of inspiration, a life of a leader, in Professor Charles David Mwewa. A great blessing that has been to many of us, and an inspiration to many of us. It's the words, it's the messages, it's the life that some of us had the privilege to have an experience, and to apply those principles in our lives and use them up to today. It's actually the whole lesson. It's the whole life that teaches you something. But then it's not a wasted life. It is a life well invested in other people. And it is invested even in you, who may be hearing about Charles Mwewa today, or who may be seeing this video after this recording. You may be seeing it, and you're saying, what about this man? We want to encourage you to go to Amazon and just type Charles Mwewa, and it'll bring you the books. Get the books, read them. Anybody who is passionate about prayer, anybody who is passionate about Pan-Africanism, anybody who is passionate about Zambia and the need for Zambia to develop, anybody who is passionate about leadership, whatever you're passionate about, it could be a theology, it could be just spirituality in the context of Christianity. Whatever you're passionate about, you can get a book out of this departed, friend, brother, father in Professor Charles Mwewa, and you should be able to just, be blessed. And thank you so much to our dear sister who came to join us all the way from Canada in a voice note, and the tribute that she has given, and that just gives us an insight of what Charles stood for, even when he has lived quite a lot of his life, in the nation of Canada, and which becomes an inspiration to Africans in the diaspora on the need to reach out back to Africa. And so this has been a great time. I just want to allow my dear brother, Mishek Nyendwa, to just say his last words.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jack, for hosting this live broadcast tribute to Professor Charles Mwewa's legacy. Like I said, a life well lived. Just 49 years, but the impact, I don't know if we can match up, but we pray for grace to match up to such a legacy. He's left such a huge legacy. And like you said, we can still be part of his life, because his life still continues. Like I think Princess said, it feels like he has just gone somewhere. He's not gone from this planet. So his life is like he emptied his life in the books. So if you can get any of the copies of the different topics that you feel like from the Amazon, definitely you'll always have that attachment to Charles. Now, one thing that he always said that I loved about him, he said, I remember when I was looking for school and he pushed me so hard. I thought he was going to help me, but he did help me, connecting me to people. Then I did everything by myself. He was at Unza, and I was looking for school at Munali. I used to walk from Chaisa to Munali and go and eat at Unza at his room, until finally I found the school. And I was able to do, it was very difficult to even find money. He never gave me, even, apart from transport money for me to go home, never gave me anything. But I managed. And when I managed, he just told me, I deliberately let you alone, because I wanted you to use everything you have, because this is what you will need in the future. Now that you are able to do this on your own, you can never fail. Then he told me that as long as you have breath, and this was always his favorite saying, that you can even leave me in a desert. Come next year, you'll find the city. That was Charles.
Wow. So as long as you have breath, it doesn't matter where we leave you. And you can still put forward. And it doesn't matter how you look, your stature, how tall or handsome you are, or how short, whatever you are, or whatever color of your skin. But the thing is that there is something that God has deposited on the inside of you. And that is what, Professor Charles would actually encourage all of us. And like we heard from our dear sister Princess, when he went to Canada and became a professor, professor is not just because he was a lecturer in the university and inspiring a lot of people there. And also he founded a law firm and just did quite a lot in the lives of many people. Beloved, you can become, and you can become. By the grace of God, you can become. And so never give up. As long as you have breath, still push on, give it another push, and just remember the law of importunity. Remember the principle of audacity. Remember that it is men of conviction that change the world. Remember that it takes conviction to do the impossible, to achieve the impossible. It takes conviction to see the invisible. It takes conviction, beloved, to dream dreams that are beyond us. And even today, I know people might say, oh, he wanted to be president, wanted to be this, wanted to be that. But it's not about the position we attain. It is about the influence that we leave behind. And it's the legacy that continues from one generation to another. It is about transgenerational leadership. That's what we are calling for, that this generation has a responsibility for the next generation. And we have to begin something for Africa. We have to begin something for Zambia. We may not get it done, we may not get it all done, but the next generation can be inspired to make a difference. And a luta continua. The journey continues, the journey for a better Africa, the journey for a better Zambia, the journey for Pan-Africanism, the journey for one Africa, the journey to turn Africa into a global superpower continues. We keep pushing, we keep pushing. If we don't see it happen in our generation, it must happen in the next generation. But at least we would have started from somewhere. God bless you. Thank you very much. And so we'll close with these words from the professor himself.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, even good morning, from wherever you are listening to me. My name is Charles Mwewa. I am probably the author of the greatest, probably the largest book, not only in terms of size, but in terms of content, about prayer. Yes, about prayer. Here is the book, Prayer. All prayer makes all things possible.
Now, just before we close, I want her to allow Princess to say something. Princess, are you there? Hello, Princess? Yes, please. Yes, we can get your sound. Hello, Princess. Okay. Yeah, I think she's not there. So we could end here. Thank you so much, Brother Mishek. And thank you. Let's just again play that video on prayer and then we'll call it done.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, even good morning, from wherever you are listening to me. My name is Charles Mwewa. I am probably the author of the greatest, probably the largest book, not only in terms of size, but in terms of content, about prayer. Yes, about prayer. Here is the book, Prayer. All prayer makes all things possible. That is the exact title of this book, Prayer. All prayer makes all things possible. Perhaps you're asking questions. What can Charles Mwewa do with prayer. All my life, I have dedicated it to prayer. I have prayed, I have taught prayer, I have led prayer, I pray. Never a single week passes without me asking God about someone or about something. I have prayed all my life. As soon as I knew the power of prayer, I pray. I have led thousands in prayer. I have raised leaders of prayer across the globe. I pray. Now, today I am not speaking to you because I need your money. No, of course, you must buy the book. But more importantly, you must embrace the fact that this book will change not only your life, but your life of prayer, your life in the family, the life of the church, the life of Christian universities, the life of Christian seminaries. I have dedicated this as my signature publication in Christianity, and I'm proud that I am giving to the world a document not written from whimsical fantasies or from ecclesiastical gymnastics, but written purely to and for the glory of God. I have tackled 60 lessons to be covered in this prayer. And I will not be in a hurry, I'll let you know. Just the main topics covered in this prayer. Generalization of prayer. Surveys of prayer from New Testament in the quest to discover how and what God meant to those who prayed and the results that they had. I've dug into the concepts of prayer. What do we mean even by prayer itself? Then I go to the definition of prayer. What is prayer? And I give various not so good definitions of what people take prayer to be. The reason is simple. The way you define prayer defines your prayer life. That's why most people only pray when they have a meal or when there's something sad happening around them, or when they are in danger, they may pray. Some may pray when they are extremely very happy. That is because that's how prayer was defined to them. Do you want to be a person who prays all round? Even when you need not to pray, but you found yourself praying. You see the definition. I've canvassed aspects of prayer, from requests to prayers to intercession to thanksgiving, including the principles that govern those, then to petitions and various aspects of entreaties. Then I talk about types of prayer. 2 types of prayer: voiced prayer and meditative prayer. It is the first book in which you find the covering on meditative prayer in details that will supersede your own cogitation. And then you understand why men like Nehemiah would pray meditatively in 1 second and achieve a lifetime result of prayer for Israel. Then I talk about dialectics of prayer. That includes time of prayer, posture of prayer, place of prayer. And then I surmise how important or unimportant all of these may be. I talk about effective prayer. And I conceive aspects of effective prayer as righteousness, faith, the will of God, right motives, and the authority of the name of Jesus Christ. I explain them in further details. Then I talk about legality of prayer. You have never heard of that type of God. Why can I go to God in the presence and stand boldly and make petitions before him? Is it just because God said you must come? No. There was a judicial process that happened to win me that entrance, to come boldly into the presence of God and petition.
Wow. Well, uh, such a great, and inspiring life just there. And it has been such a great blessing to have all of you with us here. Thank you, Brother Michek, for making it, and also my dear Sister Princess Ukaja, and Ukaja. And thank you to everyone that has been able to follow and you have made a comment. Now, I want to encourage you to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe, and you'll be able to get several inspirational teachings on various topics on the gospel. It is, JPC Ntuntu, and I should be able to find it on YouTube. And if you want to watch this video again, you can still find it on YouTube. And if you want to download it so your family members can see it, you can still go to JPC Ntuntu and be able to download, the video. And we also want to say thank you to the administrators of a page called the Church Newspapers Zambia for permitting us to be able to broadcast this tribute, without paying anything. Thank you so much for that, and we remain grateful. And so we just want to end it with a prayer. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for the life of our dear brother, our dear friend, a father, a blessing, a husband, a brother to many, and more so a leader to many, oh God, that you brought closer to him. Thank you for his life, and thank you for the souls that you've been able to touch through him. And so we pray that even in death, you will minister to his daughters and to his wife, to his mother, and to the brothers that he has left behind, the people that he cared for, the people that he loved, that you reach out to them and show them your love and comfort them and minister to them. We pray that may all these works that your servant did, the books that he wrote, that many people will read them, and especially those to whom they were targeted. The community of Africans and the community of Zambians across the globe that need to be inspired to provide leadership that will transform their own nations. We pray, oh God, that may there be a steering even in the spirit, that many people would realize the need to make a meaningful contribution to life. In the mighty name of Jesus, Lord, we pray, and we say amen and amen and amen. And thank you so much. My dear brother, Pastor Laxon, simply says, what a life, what a man, rest in peace. And we have Brother Mulenga there, Marco, indeed, the legacy of Professor Charles Mwewa, my leader, lives on. God bless. Thank you so much.